The next page on this one, let's look at some rules real quick. Talks about transformations. All right, going into depth with this. This gets a bit lengthy, so let's be patient with this. First thing is A. A talks about your vertical cowl. It's a vertical stretch or compression. So with the stretch, you got to make sure that your A value is greater than 1. The absolute value of A, which means it's disregard the sign. Ignore the sign that's in front of it. It's greater than 1 means it's going to be a stretch. Compression tells you it's either a fraction or a decimal. It's in between 0 and 1. You notice, guys, I did not include 1 or 0, right? And of course, let's add here. If it's negative A, then what? What happens if we put a negative in front of any equation? Over the. Good. Good. If it's negative, it reflects over the x-axis. All right, so as you can tell, guys, that's in front of the equation. A is in front, it deals with vertical. Do you see that? Let's move along alphabetically. So let's go on to the next one. B does the exact same thing as A, exact same thing, except now it's not vertical, but it is horizontal. So we have stretch, compression. Again, it'll look exactly the same as it looked like with A. What's a negative B going to do? If we took a negative A and it reflected about the x-axis, what do you think it's going to do with negative B? There you go. All right, so what do you know is inside the parentheses, guys? What's the equation that's inside the parentheses? It does deal with run for sure. What's inside the parentheses? Just tell me the equation in the parentheses. X minus C. What is the sign that's in between it? Minus. This is what you guys already know for sure. You've been talking about it already for this marking period, and you know it's like, oh, it's always the opposite. Oh, it's always the opposite. If we're talking about transformations, which we've done before already, and you see this, you'll notice that this minus sign tells you it's going to be the opposite. So when we look at C, we're going to talk about horizontal again. But guys, you got to focus on the fact that if it's plus C, what does that mean? Shift left. If it's minus C, shift. I like that. And that's it. That is all you have for C, is shifting left or right. That's all. It doesn't do anything else. So hopefully, and it looks like I do. What about D? Do what? This one's literally what it is, right? Because look at the equation. Look at what's in front of D. Look what sign is in front of D. It's plus, which means we're going to take the value of what it is. We don't have to flip it because of the minus sign in front of the C. So you're right. Plus D, shift up, minus D, I don't know what I was about to write there, shift down. It's about 2 years ago. I was working with transformations, guys. Sleep deprived because Avery was having a little bit of sleep regression. I was kind of hurrying to get stuff done. Went to go talk about transformations on shifting. And sure enough, in my big hurry, I forget the one important letter I need to probably put in the word shift in order to make it school appropriate. Right there, up on the screen, written in black and white, is the 4-letter word that doesn't need to be probably in school. It was there. It was there for a while. No one said anything. It just kept going on, going on. Yep, finally at the end of it, I looked up there and I'm like, looking at them, they started laughing at me. I was like, they knew. The bags were under my eyes. They knew what was going on. They didn't even say anything. I was like, all right, thanks, guys. All right, so let's talk about it. And there's all the parts to it, guys, going through it. Now let's just go ahead and put it all together. So let's talk about x and y and what happens with the equation. Well, as we already talked about here, transformation rule is, well, let's talk about the x value. If it's c, we're going to do the opposite of c, correct? So we're going to say minus c and multiply it times whatever b is. So basically just take whatever the exponent is, right guys? B parentheses x minus c. I'd wait on that. You're missing some good stuff. So, what about y? Y is a little bit different. Not so easy because it's in the middle of the equation. But what about y? What do we know about those? Well, first off, let's deal with the shifting. What letter deals with the shifting? D, and let's write what that is. It's plus D. What letter deals with the shrinking and compressing and flipping? A. So for vertical, you're going to take the very first number and the very last number. For horizontal, you're taking the two inside. Guys, this right here becomes very important in what we're about to do. Critical point, as you can see here, one critical point is 0, 1. The asymptote is y is equal to d. Domain is always going to be all real numbers. Range, well, depending. Are we talking about increasing or decreasing function? And you get that. Points for any base. Guys, and this is key right here. What I've boxed and what I wrote here is what we're going to do for the next couple of problems. Okay? So let's go and get into those. You'll start out real basic real quick. Not a lot of transformations being done, as you can tell. But they've already started us and gave us our critical points. Guys, when you do these, your two critical points will be the x values of 0 and 1 and whatever the y values of those are. Well, what transformations is being done 5 to the x power? Good. Your answer is exactly right. Your silence is correct because there's nothing done here at all. Josh's like, I know, that's what I meant to do. Got it. So, there's no transformations done here. So let's just go ahead and use our critical points and not worrying about any shifting, flipping, or stretching, or compressing. Okay? So, 5 to the 0 power is what? 1. 5 to the 1 power is 5. So we go ahead and we graph those. 0, 1. There'll be a secret to that. And then 1 and 5. Those are the 2 points, guys, you always will only have to write out when we're graphing exponentials, is the 2 critical points. 2 points is all I need from you. Now what you're going to do is, well, let's go through real quick our parts. Where's the asymptote at? Good. JC, it's the other way. So, well, let's talk about it. Is this function going to increase or decrease? Well, as x is getting larger and larger and larger, what's happening to the value of this equation? Is it getting larger, larger, and larger? There you go. So it's increasing. What's the domain, guys? Always and forever? All real numbers? Does never change. That never changes. The range. The range will always be y is greater than d or less than d. I guess, how'd you guys know it was y equals 0 as the asymptote, by the way? There's a plus 0 on the end. Good. I didn't even address that, and you guys got it. So you're a lot more alert than I am. All right. So if this function is increasing, is it going to be y is greater than or y is less than 0? So this is how you graph it, guys. The two things I need from you. The first one's going to be the asymptote. So we go ahead and graph the asymptote, which is just the x-axis, right? Then you just go ahead and graph the function. Pretty sharp turn going from 0, 1 to 1, 5. Would you agree? Almost kind of hard to go ahead and go there and not just curve straight. It's got to be a curved line, guys. However, when it's 1, 5, imagine the base being 1,000. Think about how sharp that turn has to be, right? So as the base gets larger and larger and larger, what happens to this increasing, this line? Steeper. Very good. Very good. That's the word I was looking for, steeper. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next one that I'm going to have to scroll. I can get two on one page. All right. So now let's look at 5x. Now we've introduced some transformations in it. Do you agree or disagree with this? Yep, we have, right? So we look at and say, what transformation is being done? Well, we have, I don't really know what to be on top, but can we write the equation of what's happening? This is what I underlined for you guys on the first page of these notes. Looking at 5 to the x minus 2 power plus 1, what is happening to all of our x values? Say that again? That's the y values. I'll do that. Actually, we'll go over here. All our y values, we're adding 1. How do you notice that, Edrin? There's a plus 1 on the end. That's the d. Okay? What about all of our x values? And be careful because we're in parentheses. All of our x values are increasing by 2. Make that a plus. They're increasing by 2. So, what used to be 0 is now what, guys? What used to be 1 is now, moving over to the y values, what used to be 1 is now 5 is 6. Right? I guess maybe this. Maybe that's what should be written there. I don't know. I don't know what needs to be written on top. Honestly, it's... What's the parent function? Y equals 5 to the x. That looks like good. We'll do that. So now we have our points. And they're right here. Here's our x's and here's our y's. So let's go ahead and plot those 2 points. So we have the point 2, 2 and 3, 6. What is our asymptote? To draw it, is this function increasing or decreasing? What's the domain? What's the range? Yeah, I got this. wasting my time sitting up here talking to you all right. It's pretty rough, but that's it. Let's do one more, guys, just to say I did 3 of them. 3 is a nice little happy number for doing examples. Let's do one more. What is the parent function of number 14? You know what? I think that's what it's supposed to look like, Mary. I think I have it right. I think it's by 3x. All right, so what's happening to all of our x values in this transformations, guys? Plus 4. Don't forget to change the sign. We're adding 4 to everything. What's happening to all the y values? Minus 1. So, we do that. Do y'all agree? 4, 0, 5, 2. Plot those points. 4, 0, 5, 2. Asymptote is, whoa, -1, thank you. Function increasing or decreasing, guys? Where are the dots? If the dots are above the asymptote, it's going to be what? Increasing. Domain. All real numbers. Range, y is